Assalamu alaikum, this is Aisha and today we are going to talk about conditional type 1. This example shows us the conditional type 1. If I finish early, I will call you. So normally we use conditional type 1 to talk about the action that will or may happen in the future. So in my sentence, if I finish early, I will call you. That is, this thing, calling you, may happen in the future in case I finish early. Let's talk about the format of conditional type 1. In all conditional types, you have for sure two clauses. The first one is if clause, which is marked by if and contains the condition, and the main clause, which contains the results of this condition. As you can see in the if clause, you need if for sure, followed by the subject and the verb in the simple present. And the main clause contains the subject, followed by will, and the verb in the infinitive form. These two clauses should be separated by a comma. Let's see an example to make this clearer. So, remember that you have two clauses, if clause and the main clause. In the if clause, you need if, subject, say it, verb in the simple present, say is sunny. So, if it is sunny, don't forget the comma. In the main clause, subject, say I, will is fixed there, verb in the infinitive, say walk to school. So, at the end you have, if it is sunny, I will walk to school. Now, the function of the conditional one. The first conditional is used to talk about possible situations. The result can happen because the condition is possible in reality. Let's see this example. If it rains, we will stay indoors. So, the condition is if it rains, then the result will happen, which is we will stay indoors. The result may happen in reality if the condition happens in reality, and both of them are possible. Another example is if you drive fast, you will have an accident. So the result is possible. You will have an accident if the condition happens, which is if you drive fast. Both of them are possible to happen in reality. Normally, in conditional type 1, you have three different types in the main clause. So in the if clause, you have if and the simple present, but in the main clause or the result, there are three different structures. So the first one can be will and the infinitive. In this case, you are talking about future, things that may happen in the future, or model, other models like may, can, must, followed by infinitive. In this case, you are talking about levels, different levels of certainty. And the last structure can be infinitive only. In this case, you are using imperatives. Let's see an example for these three in general, then we will move into each one in detail. If it rains, you will get wet. Here you are talking about future. It's 75% that this will happen. Or you can use other models, so you can say, if it rains, you may get wet. In this case, the possibility of this can be 50%. Or you can say, if it rains, you can come inside. Here you are talking about ability. Or you can say, if it rains, you must come inside. In this case, you are talking about some kind of advice. Or you can say, if it rains, come back home. Here you are using imperative form, or don't go to school. All these three types are correct, but they are giving different meanings. Now, let's move to each type in detail. For the first one, we can use first conditional to talk about future events that are likely to happen. They are possible. Examples: if it rains, you will get wet. If you don't hurry, you will miss the school bus. If you study hard, you will pass the exam. If you smoke, you will die young. Conditional 1 sometimes is used for giving warnings. Let's see some examples. If you don't leave now, I will call the police. If you don't drop the gun, I will shoot. If you don't apologize now, I will tell the teacher. If you say it again, I will tell your parents. So as you can see, you use kind of warnings here. Remember that you can combine will and not together and you can get want. But this is only in spoken English. So you can say, if you don't hurry, you won't catch the bus, and you can say, will not catch the bus. Let's move to the other structure, which is using other models. We can use models in the first conditional to express the degree of certainty of the result. Let's see these examples. If you walk slowly like this, you may miss the train. If she practices more, she can win the game. If you touch that knife, you may cut your finger. Have these exercises. You have now the first clause. Try to choose the right result for this example. So if he finishes early, what can be the result? Is it he will have helped us or he will help us? Of course it is he will help us. If you drop the glass, is it may break or it will breaks? Of course it may break, because remember after will we have infinitives. If you come early, you the book, is it I would have given you the book or I will give you the book? Of course it is I will give you the book. If Alia looks after the barbecue, Alia will let the guests in or would have let the guests in or lets the guests in. Of course it's will let the guests in. Remember that we said that you start with the if clause, then the main clause. Actually, you can swap these two clauses. So you can say, if we see you in Abu Dhabi, we will give you the box. You can start with the main clause. So you say, we will give you the box if we see you in Abu Dhabi. In this case, remember that you drop the comma. Take this example for you. What is the other way that you can say this sentence? If they all work together, the party will be great. You also can say, the party will be great if they all work together. Right. Now, the third structure is, as we said, using imperatives. You can use imperatives in the result clause. So you can say, if you see Alia, tell her that I am here. So the if clause is if you see Alia, and in the result clause, you are using imperative. Notice here, no subject, no will, just the verb directly. If Layla is late, don't let her in. Again here, in the main clause, you have don't let her in. If you feel sick, stay at home. So as you can see here, in the result clause, you are using imperative. No subject, no will, just right away with the verb. Stay at home if you feel sick. As we said, we can start with the result clause, with the main clause. So you can say, stay at home if you feel sick, and notice no comma here. Start writing if you are ready. Change your seat if you aren't comfortable there. Now, I'm going to give you one clause. Try to complete it. If you don't drink milk, you try to think of a result But remember that you need will and infinitive. You will not be healthy. Possible. If we are free this evening, we will go to the cinema. Or we can go to the cinema. You can use another model. Call me if you get there, you see him. You may get sick if you eat that thing, or you keep eating junk food. Now I am going to give you a situation. Try to think of a sentence. I may come to the party. Once I come, I will let you know. So the right sentence will be, if I come to the party, I will let you know. Or you can say, I will let you know if I come to the party. Another example is, Ali may come early. In case he comes, he will give you a lift home. So you can say it in these ways. If Ali comes early, he will give you a lift home. Or you can say, if Ali comes early, he may give you a lift home. Try to swap. Ali will give you a lift home if he comes early. This is all for today's lesson, but before you go, let's remember about conditional type 1. Remember the format that we have two clauses, the if clause and the main clause. In the if clause, you have if, subject, then verb in the present. And in the main clause, you have subject, will, and the verb in the infinitive. These two clauses are separated by a comma. Remember that in the main clause, you have three different structures. You have will followed by infinitive, which talks about the future. You have modals followed by infinitive. You have different levels of certainty. And last, you have infinitive only, and here you are using imperatives. Also remember that will and not can be contracted into want only in spoken English. And remember that we can swap both sides, both clauses. Instead of starting with the if clause, you can start with the main clause. And this brings us to the end of the lesson. I hope you learned something about conditional type 1. Wish you all the best. Goodbye.